Tanya is getting an overhaul in Mortal Kombat 1, and fans are unhappy with the new design. Every week there is another fighting game, with more controversy. This genre is a magnet for criticism, and Mortal Kombat is the latest recipient. There is currently a lot of online debate regarding the portrayal of women in video games. By this point, it feels like I am covering this topic every week. That is likely because I am. Fighting games have become a particularly contention point of debate for many within the industry. Due to some unknown reason, they are subjected to the most scrutiny regarding appearance. There is a particular reason for this. Firstly, fighting games are highly visual. Since there is no solid story to follow, you must make up for it in other ways. Mortal Kombat is the best example of this practice. Their success within this space is no coincidence. They rely massively on visual appeal to win fans over. The games have gradually become more gruesome as they try and entice fans to engage with their product. This tactic has worked excellently for them. Since launch, they have sold over 80 million units. It is not just the blood that has contributed to their success. Despite the fantastic fighting mechanics for the game that has uncountably contributed, it is also the visual attributes of the characters that have helped with sales. Fighting games are one of the genres that heavily depend on fan service. They create unique and physically attractive characters, and it is one of the things fans enjoy. If you take this away, you will cause controversy, which is what they did. Let's discuss Tanya and her appearance in Mortal Kombat 1 without burying the lead further. For the upcoming game, her appearance is noticeably different. Her features align with a standard recent trend within the video game space. To put things in simple terms, she has become significantly less feminine. However, before we get out our pitchforks, we must dissect whether this is bad. There is an undeniable trend within current entertainment to change how we view women. Some hold the opinion that women are being sexualized unfairly. To this allegation, I can respond by stating that it is not women who are being sexualized but rather people. For every woman in a bikini, there is a man with their shirt off. If you want to argue that there is a difference, you can, but it won't change the reality. People complain about attractive sexualized women in video games while celebrating every half-naked woman in a music video. Every Twitch and YouTube streamer has OnlyFans, but let's freak out about the video game girl in a short skirt. The truth is all these things are okay. A half-naked woman on stage humping a doll is fine, and so is a badass woman in a fighting game, kicking ass while wearing shorts. However, Mortal Kombat is the latest in a long list of video games to change the approaches purposefully of their women characters to strip them from their femininity. To be clear, not all women within games need to be feminine and attractive. However, when you actively try to change their appearance, you will rub fans the wrong way. Although you may be willing to give Mortal Kombat the benefit of the doubt, the changes made to Tanya are no accident. With Mortal Kombat 11, the studio stated that it purposefully changed women's appearances. At the time, they noted that this was to make women more realistic. The men are still ripped out of their minds and built like tanks, but the pretty lady with the long hair is a bridge too far. Due to this, many do not believe the excuse that this is their attempt to make more realistic characters. Although the change of Tanya is not the end of the world, many still wonder why it is necessary. Those defending it will constantly state that it should not matter when these changes happen. However, they make it count when they complain about women's attractiveness. If it did not matter, you would not call for the changes. Mortal Kombat developers at one point stated that they were covering up women because it was not realistic for them to fight in revealing clothes. It is clear that these people play games all day and never watch sports. If they bother to put on ESPN and watch the UFC or any other combat sport, they would realize that little clothes are part of the fight game. It is an out-of-touch take to imply that the quest for censorship is due to realism. It is your game, and you can make these changes, but you must be more honest about your motives. You are doing this to try and cater to a specific audience. These changes are made because you want to attract a new fan base and phase out the old one. There is a new saying within video games. Look at the women if you want to know whether the game is from the West or Asia. You will immediately be able to identify the difference. With the advancement of technology, today's video game characters are no longer made on computers alone. They use motion cap technology to mirror the actor after a real-life person. Often it is the actress voicing or doing the stunts for her. Due to this, the appearances of these video game characters are even more intentional. There was recent controversy due to how the lead protagonist looked in Fable. She was mirrored by an actual person who works at the studio. The woman is more attractive than you saw in the video game. However, developers decided to tone down her looks and portray her as they did. Horizon is another example of where this happened. The second game showed a clear shift in how the lead looked. She was modeled after a more attractive real woman, after which developers decided to tone down her looks again. This is a trend that we are seeing more within video games. The most prominent example occurred a few years ago with The Last of Us, Part 2. It became clear that the studio was going in a specific direction. Once again, they do have the full right to do this. In cases like Last of Us and even Resident Evil, I can understand it. You are in a post-apocalyptic world with no time to look pretty. Again, video game characters do not always need to look attractive. Overall, this trend will keep happening as time goes by. Mortal Kombat is but the latest example of this happening. Next week I will be back with another example. I am trying to look past these changes and focus on the gameplay. However, these creative decisions often set the tone for the game's direction. Once you start complying with global standards, it is already over for many.